What's going on, guys? Austin back, and today I'm going to be telling you guys why you suck at Rainbow Six Siege. Now, in this video, I know I have made countless videos, and other YouTubers have made countless videos on how to get better, how to do all this, but today I'm going to be addressing the root of the problem. I'm going to be addressing three main reasons and the three biggest things in Siege that affect you and how you win and how you play in game and how you get kills and everything. The big three things that basically make up how you play Siege and your skill level. And I'm going to be discussing them, and I'm going to be going in depth, and I'm going to be really just like it's going to be less of like a tip video, and this is going to be more of me just talking through how you need to get better at Rainbow Six Siege and maybe what some of the problems are with you not, being good and sucking at the game and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're going to be covering three things in this video, three main things, and I'm probably going to be yapping a lot, but just bear with me. And I guarantee if you watch this video, you are going to get a lot better at Siege. I guarantee it. But before we get into the video, make sure you guys go down into the description. My socials are all linked there. My Twitch is there if you are a big Twitch watcher. And stuff like that. I try to stream as much as I can over there. And then also hit the like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into why you suck at Rainbow Six Siege. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about in this video and why you suck at Rainbow Six Siege is your gun skill. And gun skill, I think, is probably the second, or I would say the second biggest thing in this game. The second biggest reason why people are good and why people are bad, and the second most important thing in being successful in this game is gun skill, because obviously it's a game, where you're killing people and you're shooting and things like that. So you need to have at least decent gun skill. I would say first, I'll leak it, is going to be game sense and just kind of how you play the game and think through it. I think that is over gun skill, but a lot of the time, better gun skill can beat that. So gun skill is very important. And when I think about gun skill, I think about two main things. I break it down into your aim and your recoil control. Obviously, you want good recoil control, so then the aim is easier to do, because if you have both bad recoil control, then your aim is just going to be absolutely horrible, right? And the biggest thing I want to say with recoil control is a lot of people, I think, struggle with it, but at the end of the day, like, it is really easy when you kind of like think about it and like simplify it. It is really easy. And basically, I will show you with a attacker that has a lot more recoil. I'm just getting on, so my recoil control might be a little but basically all you have to do for any gun on recoil control, right, is this can be in the shooting range. This can literally be in when you load into the game. When you're on attack or defense, when you load into the game, you can do this and you can have good recoil control. And all it is it's about recoil patterns and how the gun moves and where the recoil actually goes. So what I'll show you guys, because I've covered this before. So basically all you need to do is ADS and shoot your gun. So this is gonna, obviously every gun has a recoil pattern, right? So you can see with the R4C, it goes up and to the right a little bit. So what you need to do to counteract that and control the recoil is do the opposite. So we're gonna go we're gonna go down into the left. So that's gonna look like this. My recoil control is so bad right now. I just got on. Hold on, give me one sec. But basically, as long as I hold down left and away from it, it's going to literally control it perfectly, no matter where you are. And obviously that's going to be a little harder at some certain distances, right? But when you're in an intermediate fight and you know the recoil patterns of every single gun, it's going to be way easier to actually control the recoil. And I still do this to this day, bro. I have played so many hours of Rainbow Six Siege, and I still do this to this day. So that is how I would say the optimal way to control recoil is. And that's the first step, because once you do that and you know the recoil pattern, obviously it's going to be a little hard when you're like actually like fighting somebody and controlling it. It's going to be like a little different. But at the end of the day, if you can just get used to the recoil pattern and always, whenever you're in a gunfight, start to do that, over time, your recoil control is going to get a lot better. And even immediately, you know what I mean? Even immediately, this isn't just a long-term thing. This is an immediate thing. And I think a great way for you guys to actually improve your recoil control. And I think that that's the easiest part, right, is the recoil control. Now the aim is the harder part, because there's a lot of different things that go into it. So like, obviously, I think the biggest thing first when we're discussing aim is you got to make sure you have a good sensitivity And when I mean good sensitivity, I mean not just like one that a pro player has. I mean one that is catered to you and that you find really, really well. So if you need to play around with it a little bit, do that. I will show you guys my sensitivity. It won't really help that much. But like, you know, I mean, you want to find a comfortable sensitivity, you know, whether it's high, whether it's, you know, kind of the best of both worlds, or whether it's slow. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. Sensitivity is supposed to be, you know, what is good for you and stuff like that. It's not what's good for another person. That's why it's yours and that's why it's on your account. So make sure you guys get a good sensitivity. And then I would say the best way to fix your aim and stuff like that is really just playing. Like, it's really just playing with every gun. It's playing with your sensitivity, because the more you play on a sensitivity, the better you're going to get. And that's how it is in general. My number one Siege tip that I'll always tell you guys on, if somebody asks me how to get better at the game, the one tip that I can give you guys that is going to help every single time is to just play the game. If you play the game more, you're going to be better at it. That's literally how it is with anything else. You go to the gym more, you get bigger, you know what I mean? You get muscles, you know what I mean? You get stronger. If you know, play a lot of basketball, you're going to get better at basketball. It's literally, if you write a lot, you're going to be a better writer. You know what I mean? It's literally every aspect in life. So if you just play Siege, bro, you're going to, you know, on your sensitivity, you know, and get more fundamentally better, you know, controlling recoil, all that stuff, your aim is just going to improve. And I will say the best ways I would improve your aim from like a playing standpoint is obviously one, I think is going to just be arcade, and it's going to be free for all. If you just play constant free for alls, like it warming up, I think I always bring up warming up, but if like you get on and you play like a free for all or two and you use your guns that you usually use and the guns that you struggle with, you're going to get better. You know what I mean? You're going to get more used to it. You're going to be playing with the gun. You're going to be getting in way more gunfights. That's why I like free for all more than like every other game mode, because you just get into so many gunfights that you wouldn't in like a normal game or any other mode with real people in like real gunfights that you would get into an actual game. So basically, I would just spam free-for-alls. I think that's a great way to get your better aim. And then at the end of the day, you know, it's just play. You know what I mean? If whether that's, you know, playing in like against the AI, you know what I mean? Even though they're standing still, that's going to be good. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to get better at flicking on to people. You know, doing stuff like strafe trading, where you're just like going back and forth and doing stuff like that. You know, what else is there? You know, playing custom games against your friends, literally just playing ranked, standard, quick match, anything in the game. You know what I mean? Just make sure you guys are putting an emphasis on your aim and you're really thinking about it when you're doing it. But really, aim, I think, is the hardest, because it's not something that like you can just like snap and snap your finger, like do one thing and like your aim is going to be immediately better. I think it's a little different with recoil control if you take the steps that I told you, but aim is a little bit of a different story. But gun skill at the end of the day is very, very important, and I know smarts is going to be very important too, but gun skill, if you do not have good gun, if your gun skill is like really, really lacking, it's going to be hard for you to be able to compensate it with how smart you are at times. So basically, just put the time in, you know what I mean? I think that's the best way to improve your gun skills. Just put the time in, get in warm-ups, make sure your sense is good, make sure, you know, you're just playing the game a good amount, because basically you're only going to get as far as how much you're playing. That's the sad reality of it. You have to be a no-life if you want to be insanely good at this game, and that's just how it is. But yeah, so that is all it's gonna be for gun skill. I kind of yapped on this one, so I'll try to keep the other ones a little bit shorter. But yeah, that's how to get better gun skill. All right, so the next thing I wanted to cover is going to be game sense. Now, game sense is a very, very interesting one, because I feel like it's a little bit harder, you know what I mean? When you really think about it, it's like, how do I improve my game sense? Game sense is basically your smartness, how aware you are in the game, you know, when you know, how good are you at knowing what you need to do in certain moments, you know what I mean? And things like that, and like hearing and everything that has to do with it, right? And I think it's tough game sense wise. You know, it may be tough to do that, but I think there's a couple steps you can take to be better at, you know, being smarter at the game and understanding it, you know what I mean, and understanding certain situations. And really, I think the best ways that you can do this are, one, going to be watching people better than you. That is my number 2 tip overall on how to get better at the game. If I, like I said in the last segment, you know, if you ask me for one tip, I'd say to play the game. The second one I'd say is, if you ask me for another one, the second one would be, make sure you're watching people better than you. Game sense is basically just understanding situations. And when you're watching certain people play Rainbow Six Siege, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is like you are going to, be able and be aware of situations and be able to see it from multiple different angles. You know what I mean? Especially that's why I think like Pro League is so, great for getting better at Siege. And that's why I'll always advocate it, because it helped me so much. Not just because it helped me, but like at the end of the day, like it is an insane tool to be able to see that level of transparency and be able to see what's going on at all elements in all stages and what's going on with everybody in the game. So yeah, that's the number one. I think it's watching people better than you to see what they do, so you can really, really see what it's like for other people and what like good players would do in certain situations. Number two, I would recommend is to watch yourself. If that's possible in any single way, if you can anytime watch your own footage, that's going to be awesome, right? That's going to be awesome because you're going to be able to really analyze, like, oh, should I have, swung this canine door? Where should I have positioned myself? I didn't talk about positioning yet, but positioning is involved in game sense. You know what I mean? Positioning goes hand in hand with game sense, because positioning is basically how smart you are in putting yourself in a good position to win gunfights, game sense. So I think that is a big part of it, positioning. So like if you watch like pro players, like they're gonna have good positioning almost all the time, because they play the game so much, they know where they need to position themselves to be in an optimal spot to win a gunfight. That's just how it is, right? So number two, watching yourself. If you can do that, match replays, anything like that. I know it's not possible, but always I think the third tip is probably a lot better than the second tip, but it's always question yourself. Always be an open-minded person when it comes to what you're doing in a round, right? Because like, right, let's say like we're defending the second floor, right? And like you position yourself here, right? You position yourself right here, and basically because you're trying to fight this canine, door guy, and somebody comes on this window and it's like castled and goes off the castle and he's just looking there and he kills you, right? And instead of being like, oh my god, bro, why is no one watching that? Or oh my god, like why did nobody react to that? Think to yourself, what should I have done differently there? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have positioned myself here because I'm exposed to this angle. Maybe I should have, positioned myself more over here and maybe fought him closer on the door if I'm going to contest that. You know what I mean? Or, hey, let me, play more back in master bedroom. You know what I mean? Instead of, again, putting myself at danger from this angle. It's stuff like that. It's the little things like that. Working through it is going to help your game sense so much. You know what I mean? It's learning. It's playing the game. It's learning. It's really questioning yourself, obviously. I think that is so much better, than just being like, oh my god, and like complaining. You know what I mean? Oh my god, bro. Can we talk about the political? I'm not going to say the word right now. But like that's what I'm saying, right? It's really just get into it. You know what I mean? Get into realizing and thinking through things, because at the end of the day, the more you think through it, the more you self analyze yourself, is the better you're going to get in certain situations, game sense wise. And then other game sense, I mean, I'd throw like audio, I mean, being able to hear stuff. I think that's just like headset wise and like your ears. I don't know if you can like train your ears, but like just get familiar with like the game sound cues. You can find tons of videos on sound cues. I mean, if you're playing the game, you probably know a lot of the sound, like all the sound cues if you've played for a little bit. But like if you're new and you're watching a video like this, like go look it up on YouTube. There's plenty of videos on like different sound cues. Like they'll just literally walk through all the sound cues in the game and like how they sound in different ones and how they vary, things like that. So I'd like watch stuff like that. I would make sure you get like a good headset. I know that's like money wise and not everybody has like the money to go out and get that, but at the end of the day, like hearing in this game is a big thing and is going to help with your game sense and being able to make those decisions that I'm talking about. So if you can invest in a decent headset, this is the headset I use. I don't think I've ever plugged this. These are the Fnatic Reacts. I've used these for so long, and it's such a great headset, honestly, bro. So I would recommend that. Those are like $60 though. So I don't know if anybody has the money to spend stuff on headphones like that. But it's a great headset. I hear pretty much everything that I need to hear and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much game sense. Again, make sure you guys are watching people better than you, thinking through what you're doing, being constructive, giving yourself constructive criticism, self-analyzing, watching your own gameplay if needed, and make sure, you have a good headset. And then also, I'll put this in the video, make sure you guys have night mode on. I know a lot of people do because this is like one of the most like, oh, when they're going through like a tip video, they'll bring like, oh, put night mode on. You know what I mean? Because this is the best because gunshot and like footsteps are like on the same level instead of gunshots like being super high. So make sure you have night mode on, no matter what headset you have on, no matter anything. That's gonna help you so much with sound. But yeah, without further ado, I mean that's pretty much it for this one. Let's move to the last overarching term. All right, so the last reason and overarching thing of why you suck at Rainbow Six Siege is your team and the team environment. Um, and I'm not just gonna put out here that like, yo, you suck because your teammates suck. You know what I mean? Like that, I feel like that's a bad way to look at it. When I mean team, I mean playing in a team, how you're actually responding to being in the team that you're in, what operators you're choosing, what decisions, where you're playing, and how you're playing, and your play style, depending on the team that you're in, and your teammates. You know what I mean? Obviously, I have to bring up teammates because I can't just be like, you know, teammates don't play a factor because they do. It's a 5v5 game at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Team is is the biggest part. You know what I mean? You need teamwork. You need everything from your full 5 guys, you know, no matter if they're not getting kills, but they're playing different operators, you know what I mean, that you guys need. Teammates in a 5v5 is like the most important thing in this game at the end of the day because not one person can't 1v5 people. You know what I mean? You always see those things where it's like, I tried to 1v5 coppers and I'm champion. You know what I mean? You've seen like Jinxie do that. I think I've seen Richie do that. I mean, a lot of people have probably done that. And you know what? The common theme is it is very hard. It is very hard even against the worst people in the game because it is hard to play a 1v5. You know what I mean? And any other rank, like a 1v5 versus golds against a champion, is going to go in the way of the golds every single time because of the numbers. You know what I mean? So the main things that I can talk about with team is when you are in a team, make sure you're stacking with as many people as possible, okay? Just make sure, because no matter, even if they're bad, it's gonna make you a lot better player. And why this is because one, if you're stacking with people, you're gonna get comms, right? They're gonna be on cams, they're gonna be giving you comms, call outs, everything, you know what I mean? And that's just gonna make it easier on you to know where people are, you know what I mean? And you can maybe get some free kills there and be able to know how you need to play game sense wise, okay? That's number one. Number two, if you are with randoms or even with your friends, make sure you are adapting your play style, okay? And I think this is the biggest thing because a lot of people will go on a map and they like to do a certain thing, and I'm guilty of this, right? I like to do a certain thing, but sometimes when you're playing one team, you know, one of these teams, they're full countering that, you know what I mean? And they're countering you on what you normally like to do. And instead of, you know, trying something else, you kind of do that same thing and you play the same way that you like to normally when you're pretty much getting just like countered fully because they're, you know, countering you. Um, and instead of doing that over and over and like putting yourself in a harder spot, make sure you're adapting and you're going like, okay, this isn't working. You know what I mean? I need to change up how I'm playing and maybe cater it to my teammates a little bit more and help them push and do stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's going to be good. You know what I mean? That's good to do that. You know what I mean? And make sure you're doing that for your teammates. You know, if you see them struggling on doing what they normally do, be like, hey, you want to go do this with me? You know what I mean? Like, point them in the right direction, things like that. Work as a team. You know what I mean? It's a team game. If your solo push isn't working, try to do something more with the team oriented. You know what I mean? I think that's a big thing. Because each team is going to play different. You know, your opponents are going to play different every time. So each team that you play is going to have a different play style. So sometimes the play style that they play is going to, you know, be easily exploited by what you normally do. And sometimes the team that you play is going to be, you know, how their play style is going to be able to easily, you know, counter and is set to hard counter how you normally play. So make sure you switch that up. You know what I mean? Make sure you guys are really thinking through that because I think that goes along with game sense. You know what I mean? Just making plays and thinking. And the last thing I'll say for team is make sure you're just being a good teammate. I know, you know what I mean, when like you solo queue and stuff like that, which I'm so against solo queuing. Do not solo queue. Do not solo queue unless you actually like have to be able to like even play the game. Even if you're solo queuing, just try to like stack with the people in your game in your solo queues. But I'll stop talking about that. But what was I saying? Yeah. Teammate. Be a good teammate. You know what I mean? Be a good team member. And I think that this is the big point of the what I'm trying to say is like be a good teammate so your team can thrive. You know what I mean? If you just go into there and like you guys have a bad round and you're like, oh my god, my teammates suck. Oh my god, I'm so much better than them. Oh my god, I'm just gonna sit here and complain the whole time. And you're not being a good teammate and you're not calming and you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna play for myself. You know what I mean? And you're just running random ops that you like to play that aren't gonna help the team at all and aren't good on the site you guys are going to, attacking, defending, whatever it may be. You guys are going to have such a hard time playing. You know what I mean? It is a team game. No matter how hard and how bad your team pisses you off, you just have to be a teammate. You have to be a present teammate. You have to be calm and good. You know what I mean? You have to put your full effort into it. And I know this is kind of like a nerdy thing to say. You know what I mean? Like, you need to try at all times. You know what I mean? But like, seriously, bro, if you're spending your time, again, like if you're spending your time watching this video, if you're spending time playing out of your day that you could be doing anything else in the world and you're spending it on Rainbow Six Siege, at least go in there and be a good teammate. You know what I mean? So you can, you know, the time that you're spending on the game is warranted. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to just get on. Because I've had this happen. So everybody's had this happen. You get on, you play for 2 hours, and you just lose every single time. And you just drop elo. And that happens on any game. Any game. You know what I mean? You get on there and you just have like a shit day. You know what I mean? You guys are losing and it's not fun. And it feels like I just wasted 2 hours of my life. Nobody wants that, you know what I mean? If you're playing Siege and you're watching this video, you like Siege, you know what I mean? And you want to get better, and you want to be better, and you want to be the best player that you can be. So what? Just try, you know what I mean? Be a good teammate. Make sure you're doing everything that I told you in this video, because at the end of the day, I think being a teammate is the most underrated thing in the game. Be a good teammate, be a good team member, and your team is going to thrive. You know what I mean? Even if your team sucks, if you're being a good team member, you are going to help them dramatically. You know what I mean? Even if they suck. Because if you're not being a good teammate and you're just like, oh, they suck, you know what I mean? You're literally making like them worse. You know, the team dynamic is so big. It's a 5v5, not a 1v5, not a 2v5, not a 3v5, not a 4v5. It's a 5v5. You know what I mean? Be a good team member. Your team will be better. Make sure you're stacking. Make sure you're calming good again, being a good teammate, and everything like that. Make sure you're doing all those stuff. And I guarantee you, even if your team sucks, you guys are going to have a lot better chance to win games, even if you're solo queuing with randoms. You know what I mean? Being good operators, doing all this stuff. It's a team game, not a solo game. Alright, so that's going to be all for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy this one. And more of the blunt stuff. You know what I mean? I hope you guys enjoyed this more blunt thing where I'm kind of just talking through it instead of like showing you guys and giving you guys tips and like just straight out tricks that are like planned. This was me literally just like I put my videos on my notes, my video ideas, and I literally put why you suck at Rainbow Six Siege as the title and like what the preface of the video, and the 3 points that I put, because I put like the description of the video, I put gun skill, I put game sense, and I put team, and that's all I put. And it was really nice because I just got to talk and just like express how I felt about each thing and the biggest things that I thought were going to be the best and most beneficial for you. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you let me know. I always like making videos like this, and I hope you were able to take some from this video and apply it, and I hope you guys liked it. Again, my Twitch and my socials are in the description below if you guys are interested, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, see you guys in the next one. Peace out.